In the video for the 28th of November, I asked the question, will we ever have peace on earth? Baruch Spinoza was a philosopher who lived in the 17th century. He said, quote, "Peace is not the absence of war. It is a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition of benevolence, confidence, justice," end quote. He tried to replace the Bible with a scientifically based ethical system. As I look at the world, I see what developed after his so-called enlightened proclamations. Other Talmudic Khazarian Jews followed him, including the infamous Rothschilds, who financed both sides of wars, or in wars, for their personal profits and ultimate control of governments. Politicians were purposely entrapped, then blackmailed to keep them in line with a diabolical agenda. In our day and age, these charlatans live by the lie and profit from the strife they purposely cause. Where is the real God in all of this? And why has virtually nothing been done to stop it? Indeed, I don't remember how I got that particular quote, and I didn't really know who said it till I looked it up online, and I found Mr. Spinoza to be a rather fascinating individual. He was actually, he lived in Amsterdam, and he was, if you can use the term, excommunicated from the Jewish community that he grew up in, and had to exile out of the Netherlands. I forget where they said he went, but anyway, he went to another part of Europe and lived peacefully and didn't make a lot of noise, and probably died pretty much unknown. And it was much later that his philosophy was discovered, I think in the 18th century, 19th century. It was rediscovered, and a lot of people got into some of the things that he was talking about. In any case, he was a Talmudic and Khazarian Jew, and as I said in previous videos, and as I've discovered and uncovered, these were not Jews that came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They did not have a biblical lineage, in other words. They were Jews that were converted, that lived in the area of, in southern Europe, above the Black Sea, and in that region of the world. And they developed a very different philosophy. They were the ones that furthered the Talmud and created a whole bunch of rules that set them apart from everyone else, and were very anti-Gentile. The Gentiles were seen not as human beings, but as animals. This is the kind of philosophy of the group. Now, I'm not saying that belonged to Mr. Spinoza. But in any case, the diabolical agenda carried out by the Rothschilds, who, in my estimation, were probably the most diabolical beings that ever lived on this planet. And they were the ones that developed and manipulated the financial system such that they became the controllers. That's what's going on in the world today. And these are those that say they are Jews but are not. And yet many Jews, even decent, good people, are also of that lineage and have no idea of their history or ancestry. They've never looked into it, many of them, I believe. And I'm not throwing rocks at the whole group, but there are certain individuals who have aligned themselves with this, including many so-called Christian leaders that become Jewish and align themselves with the modern Khazarian nature, Zionist Israel, This is a crime. These are the people that want to rule the world, and they have no ethics, no morality. Forget what he said, scientifically based ethical system. They've thrown that out. They're not followers of Baruch Spinoza. They are followers of the Rothschilds. And that's why I asked the question, will we ever have peace on earth? And not as long as these Rothschild-controlled politicians run anything. They need to, most of them are sexual deviants, pedophiles, who have, and in many cases, murderers, who have done atrocious things throughout our history and done their best to cover it up, which is why everything has to be kept secret. It's top security clearance. You have to have a need to know, because there's so much dirt on these people. There's so much garbage that they have in their lives. They are not what Mr. Spinoza said, that they are not people who have a disposition of benevolence. They have a lust for power. And this is what we're up against. This is what puts me in what I'm realizing is a dark night of the soul. I mean, I'm questioning everything. And I even talked to the minister at church this morning and acknowledged that I'm in a dark night of the soul. And he said, many in the congregation are in a similar place. And it's a trial of our faith, because we see the world going to hell in a handbasket. And many of us do not have confidence that Donald Trump is going to turn anything around when he gets the same type of people that have been in power all along and been part of the system, and he starts naming them as Secretary of State and other positions in his proposed cabinet for when he takes office in January. There's lots of things that need to be fixed if we are going to have peace on earth, and more than one person has suggested I probably won't see it in my lifetime, which from my point of view means I have lived my life in vain. Forget the accomplishments. The promise remains unkept that I felt was made to me when I was a youth. And I don't know who made it. I mean, to me, God made the promise. But did I imagine that? Did I imagine all those communications I had with God that felt surreal? Did I imagine all of those times that I was walking with God and felt that I was doing something very positive and very good and fulfilling my calling and my mission in life? These are hard questions. And as I said, it's my dark night of the soul. I mean, I'm exploring everything, things that I've never been willing to explore before, and admitting possibilities that I've never been willing to admit before. And some of you don't understand that. Many of you don't like it. But I am where I am. And that's where I am right now. And I'd ask for prayers, except I'm wondering if prayers mean anything. Spinoza didn't think that it was ridiculous to pray to God, because God is not a being that gets involved in creation. He has a laissez-faire attitude of stand back and watch. That's his idea of God. Not a God that's personal, God that's very impersonal. I've always believed God was personal and could be known, but I don't know. I'm at the place in my life where I don't know. I'd like to see peace on earth. I'd like to see promises that were made in all of the religions that are positive and good for all of humanity, without distinction and without discrimination. I'd like to see those promises fulfilled. Anyway, you can continue to listen or not to my videos, but this is where I am right now, and you need to know that. And I thank you for listening, and namaste.